Thank you, Linda and Michael. Good morning. My name is Colleen Beery. Devorah Kelley and I will be presenting today's service. We're the co-leaders of the Social Action Team here at LCUUF, and we want to welcome you with live from Fellowship Hall. It's our LCUUF Sunday service. We are so glad you've joined us today, and it's nice to see a big crowd here. Our announcements were on a slideshow before the service and were also sent out by email yesterday with today's order of service. If you are new and would like to receive emails for upcoming services, please talk to a member of the welcome team. And now a special welcome to our visitors. If you are visiting with us for the first time or have returned or reconnected with us after a long absence, we invite you to say your name and tell us where you're from. If you're on Zoom, use the Zoom raise hand feature and we'll ask you to unmute. If you're in the room, just raise your hand and Devorah will come around. We'll start with the people in the room. Anyone new?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mickey. I'm from New Hampshire, and I'm already crying because it's so beautiful.
Good morning. My name is Michael, down from Northern California. Came here to put my wife in Mi Casita. First time here. Here because of Devorah and the caregiver group.
Welcome.
So hand over somewhere.
Hi, I'm Ron. I'm from... That was beautiful. For me. Good. Again, I'm Ron, and I'm from Boston. Yeah. And I'm down here visiting family and friends, and we left Boston at 11 below zero. So I hope you guys can appreciate what you've got down there.
Coming around. Excuse me.
Hi, my name is Michelle, and I'm from Minnesota.
Welcome.
Any others? Okay.
Okay, let's switch to those on Zoom. Is there anyone new on Zoom with us?
I don't see anyone with their hand up.
Okay, thank you, Richard. Sorry, they're moving. Keep going. And a brief note. Oh. Can you go back a little? And a brief note, we offer a wide variety of services on various topics presented by our members, outside guests, as well as our minister, Reverend Matt Alspaugh. We hope you'll return to sample this variety of thought and belief. Our chalice lighting words today are by Jennifer Grayson. We light this chalice, symbol of our purpose to bring more love and justice into the world. We light this chalice knowing our congregation as a church dispersed across communities, not bound by walls, but connected through the web of life. Now let us light our chalice with these words which we sing together.
We kindle this light in celebration for the life that we share. We kindle this light in celebration for the life that we share.
You guys really like that song.
Our opening words this morning are To Be a Unitarian Universalist by UU Minister Erika Hewitt. To be a Unitarian Universalist means we will never be done with the work. The work of telling the truth about oppression, the work of resisting any laws, policies, or practices that deny anyone their humanity. The work of stubbornly seeking out the spark of the divine in each other. To be a Unitarian Universalist also means we're not alone in the work. We are not alone because of our promises to love one another. We are not alone because we are companions on the journey. We grow ourselves into allies, helping one another get free, because none of us is truly free until we are all free. Our opening hymn is Love Will Guide Us. Excuse me. Please rise as you are willing and able and join us in singing. And this can be a dirge, so we're going to really make sure that we pep it up.
It's not a dirge when I play it.
Not when Michael plays.
And remember what I said last week, ladies and gentlemen. Sing out with your hearts. Even if you don't know the tune, sing something.
Each week, we take time to remind ourselves that we belong to a community which cares for each other. The sharing of joys, sorrows, and milestones is one way that we practice holding one another in community. We speak what is in our hearts, sharing any significant joys and sorrows in our lives because there's power in the sharing. We'll start with the folks in the room to give those on Zoom a chance to type their joys or sorrows into the chat to be read aloud by the Zoom host. First, let's recall the joys. Whatever you may be celebrating, whatever evokes a feeling of joy or peace for yourself or others. Are there any joys that people would like to share here in the room? Raise your hand and Devorah will come around.
Adele, and I'm happily settled in my new home in West Ahihique.
Hola everybody, I am Francisco. My joy is because my boss, Janice Kimball, have 83 years next Thursday, 16th of February. It's your birthday. Thank you.
My name is Kate, and I just want to welcome and invite anybody who thinks they might enjoy doing what we do here on Sundays. We obviously have a lot of fun, and it doesn't always work straight through, but we always get there.
Good morning, I'm Roy. I am very happy to say that my show at LLT opens this coming Friday, so please come out and see us. It's been 2 months of working on it, over 140 costumes that we put together, plus, so please come out and enjoy it.
And you're sitting down here instead of up there.
I know.
That's all right.
Good morning, I'm Robert, and I'm just glad to be home again after 5 weeks in Houston.
Okay, you guys have to pass.
I go first. Hi, I'm Fred Harland. Mardell and I are really delighted that our daughter is coming in a couple of hours. But it's tinged with sorrow as well, because she's helping us to pack up. And we'll be leaving in 2.5 weeks. But we'll have a delightful time with her, and I'm sure we'll see some of you before we do leave. Maybe it's 3.5 weeks, not 2.5.
Good. Always return, Fred and Mardell.
Really? Are you sure? Good morning. My name's Michael, as you know. I have a real wonderful joy and thing happening this coming week. As many of you know, the February Festival, which is an international music festival, is taking place as we speak. It opened yesterday and goes on for 2 weeks. Of course, this is it's been 3 years because of the pandemic since this has happened, and it's 20 years in existence. And I was very delighted to be invited to conduct the gala concert on Saturday, which will involve 21 musicians, and the concert's comprised of an 18-piece string orchestra, piano, harp, and percussion, and we're doing music from the vast range of the orchestral and string orchestra catalogue. And I'm so thrilled to be working with truly world-class instrumentalists that have come from all over North America. So that's my joy.
And I have a joy. My friend Mickey, who introduced herself as a newbie, she and I worked together back in Keene, New Hampshire for about 35 years, I think we figured. So it's a real joy to have her here for 2 weeks. And my friend Hyacinth, who I met last year, is here, and my friend Michael. So it's so nice to look out and see your faces here.
I'll follow that up. Sorry, I'm Heidi, and I have a beautiful couple here. My best friend, Grace, and Barry, her husband, are here for 6 weeks. They're staying in in the house that my aunt owns in Marisol, and I can't wait to do more with them. And you'll meet them next week when they'll be here to join me.
Thank you. Are there any joys to be shared on Zoom?
Nothing from Zoom.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Now let's voice our sorrows, whatever you or the world may be holding that is in need of healing and caring thoughts from us. Are there any sorrows that people would like to share in the room?
Hi, I'm Mary Helen, and I was supposed to be able to share a joy, and instead I'm on the sorrow side all of a sudden. My friend Rose had to cancel her flight. She would have been here today for me to introduce as a guest, and instead the cancer has come back too strong for her to have any confidence that she was going to cope with all the difficulties of travel. So I hope that everyone here can hold in their hearts
my friend Rose and what she is going through, and she hopes to be well enough to come in the summer. So let's all hope that, I might even say pray, that she makes it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Linda. I just want to say, unfortunately, my husband can't be here, but it's going to be our 32nd wedding anniversary on the 14th. So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Suzanne, and I have a sorrow that is very complicated and pressing on me that I can't describe right now, but I would really welcome healing thoughts for all concerned with this. Thank you.
I'm Larry, and I just want to send out my best wishes to my oldest daughter, who's in the hospital in Texas, suffering from pretty severe respiratory issues.
Are there any sorrows to be shared on Zoom?
No, they're not.
Thank you, Richard. And this candle from our care team represents the joys and sorrows we hold in silent sanctuary of our hearts. We light this candle for all those unspoken sorrows and joys. Let's share a moment of silence to hold in our hearts both the sorrows and the joys that have been shared this morning.
So I think most of us are probably familiar with the prayer of St. Francis, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Well, our meditation this morning, accompanied by Michael on the piano, is the reverse St. Francis prayer. I invite you to hold in your minds and your hearts these words as I read them, as we begin to visualize the possibilities when we pray to be made a channel of disturbance. Lord, make me a channel of disturbance. Where there is apathy, let me provoke. Where there is compliance, let me bring questioning. Where there is silence, may I be a voice. Where there is too much comfort and too little action, grant disruption. Where there are doors closed and hearts locked, grant the willingness to listen. When laws dictate and pain is overlooked, when tradition speaks louder than need, grant that I may seek to do justice rather than to talk about it. Disturb us, O Lord, to be with as well as for the alienated, to love the unlovable as well as the lovely. Lord, make me a channel of disturbance. And now, please join me in a moment of silent reflection on these words that you've heard.
While the service today is about the love of justice and how it ties into our UU principles, February 20th is the World Day of Social Justice. What does social justice mean, and why is it important? Today's readings are from two sources. The first two are from Investopedia.com. What does social justice mean? Social justice is the belief that the social benefits and privileges of society ought to be divided fairly. While there is no single definition of social justice, most approaches share the broad goals of inclusion and fairness. In order to achieve these goals, they establish a set of ethical principles for a just society. These principles may include access, equity, diversity, participation, and human rights. Why is social justice important? Advocates say that social justice is worth pursuing because it defends people from suffering deprivation due to unfair prejudices, and because it tries to provide everyone with the essentials of a good life. Social justice is a political and philosophical movement aiming for a more equitable division of resources and opportunities. By addressing historical injustices and directing resources to underserved communities, social justice advocates hope to establish a more fair and equal society. And the second source is from nationalday.com. It must be the responsibility of the privileged to ensure that we can create a just world where social justice is a norm.
So I know today is Super Bowl Sunday, but it is for us Social Justice Sunday. Every UU fellowship or congregation decides when that might be, and we chose this day as a team as it's close to Valentine's Day and the Day of Love and Friendship here in Mexico. And today in Mexico, it's called Super Domingo. Did you know that? Super Domingo. So enjoy this presentation. The 7 principles of Unitarian Universalism espouse the acceptance of diversity, but they also spell out values that define Unitarian Universalism as a faith tradition, respect for the individual and for the natural environment, a commitment to justice, and a duty to engage in the search for a spiritual meaning. Today, we will explore the connection between justice, social action, and 4 of our principles. The following reflections that we will share are from the 7 principles in word and worship that were compiled by Unitarian minister Reverend Ellen Brandenburg. We've included writings from other faith traditions that reflect similar beliefs. Our first principle is the inherent worth and dignity of every person. This reflection comes from Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker. Reverence and respect for human nature is at the core of Unitarian Universalist UU faith. We believe that all the dimensions of our being carry the potential to do good. We celebrate the gifts of being human, our intelligence and capacity for observation and reason, our senses and ability to appreciate beauty, our creativity, our feelings and emotions. We cherish our bodies as well as our souls. We can use our gifts to offer love, to work for justice, to heal injury, to create pleasure for ourselves and others.
There. From the Jewish writings. In Judaism, practicing social justice is a central part of identity, but it isn't about religious identity. The idea of social justice comes from a historic identity. It comes from reaching into the Jewish history of being a stranger and turning that into an obligation to see, engage with, and care for others. That's from Deuteronomy 16:20, and the stories from Isaiah are examples of justice in Jewish sacred texts. The message in Deuteronomy suggests that believers must pursue justice whether or not it serves their own personal gain.
From the Bible, Matthew 7:12, in everything, therefore, treat people the way you want them to treat you, for this is the law and the prophets. Our second UU principle is justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. This reflection comes from Reverend Emily Gage. Justice, equity, and compassion in human relations points us towards something beyond inherent worth and dignity. Kate? It points us to the larger community. It gets at collective responsibility. It reminds us that treating people as human beings is not simply something we do one-on-one, but something that has systemic implications and can inform our entire cultural way of being. Compassion is something that we can easily act on individually. We can demonstrate openness, give people respect, and treat people with kindness on our own. But we need one another to achieve equity and justice. From the Bible, learn to do good, seek justice, reprove the ruthless, defend the orphan, plead for the widow. That's from Isaiah 1:17.
From humanist writings, if we're going to have justice, we have to recognize it is in our own hands. That's from Greg Epstein, a humanist chaplain at both Harvard University and MIT.
From the Muslim writings, one of the pillars of Islam, zakat, is to give alms to the poor. This money must be given directly to individuals who need it. For Muslims, having financial stability is important. If a person is poor, they won't be in the right state of mind to worship God. So others must help them to overcome that barrier to worshiping. From Imam Shuaib Uddin. Sorry. And now let's pause as we consider how open and willing we are to join together to achieve equity and justice.
I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of change. There is a burden in my family, and there is sorrow in my town. There is a panic all across the nation, and there is wailing the whole world round. But I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me it dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of
Whew. Just a little side note, I was very fortunate to work for 6 summers at Ferry Beach, Maine, which is a UU conference center. And Holly Near was a guest singer, performer at the Music Week there, and I got to have lunch with Holly Near. It was one of my highlights of the summer. Oh, wow. Anyway, our 6th principle, we're not doing all 7 because it would have taken a while, but our 6th principle in Unitarian Universalism is the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. This reflection is by the Reverend Sean Parker Dennison, who states that the 6th principle seems extravagant in its hopefulness and improbable in its prospects. Can we really continue to say we want world community, peace, liberty, and justice for all? The world is full of genocide, abuse, terror, and war. What have we gotten ourselves into? As naive or as impossible as the 6th principle may seem, I'm not willing to give up on it. In the face of our culture's apathy and fear, I want to imagine and help create a powerful vision of peace by peaceful means, liberty by liberatory means, justice by just means. I want us to believe and to live as if we believe that a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all is possible. Reverend Dennison ends by saying, oh dear, it's too small for me to read. Could somebody up back who can see it read it? Oh no. Okay. Sorry. Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm going to read it out loud. No, go up. Go back up to it, Kate, and I'll read it out loud. There's no guarantee that we will succeed, but I can assure you that we will improve ourselves and improve the world by trying. And that's what we're here today to figure out.
From the Baha'i faith, the well-being of mankind, its peace and security are unattainable unless and until its unity is firmly established. That's from the Baha'u'llah.
And from the Hindus, the difference between what we do and what we are capable of doing would suffice to solve most of the world's problems. Mahatma Gandhi. Our 7th principle reads, and this is the one when I became a UU, this is the one that I could remember, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. And this reflection is by Reverend Forrest Gilmore. There he is. Our 7th principle, respect for the interdependent web of all existence, is a glorious statement. It may be our Unitarian Universalist way of coming to fully embrace something that is greater than ourselves. I'm just going to go off script for a minute, you guys. So when I first joined the UU Church in Keene back 30 years ago, I did the religious education program with the kindergartners. And one of the first activities we did that really brought this home is we had a ball of yarn and we would toss it to one person who would toss it to another until everybody was connected. And then the kids would decide were they an ant or an elephant or a person or a dolphin or a tree. And one would tug, and you could see how it interconnected so the ant interconnected with the elephant. Just wanted to share that as a visual image of this interconnected web. The interdependent web expressed as the spirit of life, the ground of all being, the oneness of existence, the community forming power, the process of life, the creative force, even God, can help us develop that social understanding of ourselves that we and our culture so desperately need. It's a source of meaning to which we can dedicate our lives.
The Buddhist writing states that the Bodhisattva loves all living beings as if each were his only child. Sutra 5.
From the Hindus, the whole world is one family. That's from it's a Upanishad, verse 6. Now that we've heard from various faith traditions on the importance of taking action for justice, including our very own Unitarian Universalism, I invite you all to join in the choral reading, which is called The Task of the Religious Community, from Singing the Living Tradition by Mark Morrison Reed. So let's read together The Task of the Religious Community. The central task of the religious community is to unveil the bonds that bind each to all. There is a connectedness, a relationship discovered amid the particulars of our own lives and the lives of others. Once felt, it inspires us to act for justice. It is the church that assures us that we are not struggling for justice on our own, but as members of a larger community. The religious community is essential, for alone our vision is too narrow to see all that must be seen, and our strength too limited to do all that must be done. Together, our vision widens and our strength is renewed.
It can't be emphasized enough that Unitarian Universalism entails not only the right and responsibility to come to our own theological understanding of freedom of belief, but that freedom of belief also calls us, demands us to participate in social justice work. The understanding of what constitutes social justice work varies widely from congregation to congregation. A vast continuum of actions is designated as social justice work. Today, we ask those of you here at LCUUF and on Zoom, what might you be willing to do in the name of love and justice? Raise your hand as we read each one of these possible social justice actions. If you're on Zoom, please turn on your video or use the raised hand feature. Raising your hand does not obligate you, but rather gives us a sense of how we here at LCUUF are willing to undertake social action, okay? So just raise your hand and then put it down. I'll give a pause between each one of these things. First one is educating yourself about social justice issues. Thank you. Writing letters or emails to the media or politicians in your home country about social justice concerns. Joining a social justice advocacy group like the ACLU, Rhizome Center for Migrants here in Jalisco, Amnesty International, etc. Shopping or dining at local businesses that support social justice causes, such as Tepewa Treasures or Simply Joyful, or by donating to or buying items from their places of business. And I'm going to be sending out via email. There's a whole list of businesses here at Lakeside that do support our UU principles. Collecting and or donating money to Lakeside organizations that support social justice causes like Food Bank Lakeside and Poco a Poco, which we do already, but are you willing? Protesting and or marching when so called for social justice. We've done that a few times here. Participating in the LCUUF Social Action Team. We've got some great people involved and looking for more. Working hands-on in the community to support social justice, for example, with villagers at San Pedro Itzican, or volunteering at a local food bank. I know Johannes is going out there doing art with the kids. Got that all right? Okay, super.
Thank you all for raising your hands. It was really heartwarming to see the hands all go up because I said to Colleen, what if nobody raises their hands? I guess we don't do social justice here, but we do social justice here, so thank you. And not only are there many ways to be of service in our Lakeside community, and we do hope that our fellowship here is a beacon for that, there are many ways to be of service right here at LCUUF with your time, your treasure, and your talents. They're all necessary components to a healthy fellowship. Now is the time in our service when we ask you to share the gift of treasure through pledging and donations. Instructions for payments to the fellowship were on a slide during the announcements before the service each week. For the people here at the fellowship, we'll pass a basket. And because it's Valentine's week, Susan and Lynn are going to pass some Valentine treats. Only, so well, if you're a couple, just take one. They're not sure there's enough because there's so many people. And even if you don't put something in the basket, you'll get this. And while you're considering your gifts to the fellowship, remember that each month LCUUF donates 5,000 pesos or more to an organization in our Lakeside community. We share one half of the offering collected at the fellowship each week with that organization. For the month of February, we are supporting Food Bank Lakeside. And you can see the image up there. Okay.
The Struggle Continues by Israel Bufardi. The road that lies ahead of us is a long one, and the pace of progress will sometimes feel glacially slow. Never forget that glaciers over time can carve out grand canyons and great lakes. Moving tectonic plates can rise up mountains over millennia, or they can explode awe-inspiring volcanoes in milliseconds. Our commitment to love and justice can do the same.
Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So what is love calling you to do on this Valentine's week? Because why would you celebrate just one day of love, right? The world needs Unitarian Universalists to show up for justice with spiritual grounding, generosity, humility, courage, and concrete skills. It is a spiritual practice to choose love over fear, to be brave, to show up when we're called, to occupy space with loving resistance rather than fearful retreat. We are most powerful when we understand deeply about the fundamentally interlinked, We are most powerful when we understand that all the issues, we skipped a line, all the issues we care most deeply about are fundamentally interlinked, and that each of us has a role to play in building a world in which all people can be free and thrive. When we bring our best selves to our justice work, whichever specific issue or campaign it might be, we are choosing to side with love for the love of justice, because we shall be known by the company we keep. Keep that in mind. We shall be known by the company we keep. So let us extinguish our chalices with these words, which we read together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we keep in our hearts and share with all the world. This is a very powerful song that I learned at Ferry Beach. Ferry Beach is a special place for me. And I really believe in the words that they're singing, that we shall be known by the company we keep, by Mom Yus.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive in this great turning. We shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive in this great turning. We shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love.
Did you see all the yellow UU shirts in that video? So our worship is over, but our service begins.
Go in peace and with a purpose as we strive to make a difference in our world.